I'm Jen, and I'm a fiber artist living along the Rio River in Tucson, Arizona. Most of the year, this is a dry riverbed that looks a little bit more like the beach, but let's head back to the studio. My husband and son have been painting the studio, but this mama bird has interrupted the job. Wait a minute, somebody's missing. Where do you think you're going? Oh, little buddy. Once I'm in the studio, I like to start off my days by just spending a little quiet time working on my latest project. I should introduce myself beyond just my name, which is Jennifer. My middle name is Rose, which was for my father's mother. As a little girl, I was called Jenny, but I never felt much like a Jenny. So I was happy to reinvent myself as Jennifer when I went to college. Over time, Jennifer has become Jen, and that is the name that just kind of stuck. I have chosen not to be in front of the camera on YouTube, but if you happen to still be watching, this is what I look like. I don't take myself that seriously. In fact, not that long ago, Amazon sent me goji berry hair dye instead of my normal medium golden brown, and I decided that was the universe telling me to have pink hair for a few months. One of the great things about living in Tucson is if you look a little quirky, you fit right in. If you are discovering me in this channel, I really like to focus on my creative endeavors. I love making crochet tutorials and putting my designs out there. If you happen to crochet, there are quite a few free patterns here. I think of YouTube as my version of publishing a book or something like that. The reason I brought up my middle name, being Rose, before is because it plays into why I chose Wind Rose Fiber Studio as the name of my business. I knew I wanted to have fiber studio so people would have some idea of what I'm all about, and then I added the Wind Rose. This is a nod to my dad. He passed away when I was just 19, but one of the things he left me with was a deep desire to have a passion in this life. He fell in love with wooden boats and spent the rest of his life building them by hand. The Wind Rose was used by ancient mariners to navigate, and my dad was nothing if not a mariner. I feel like creativity has always been my true north, and in my late 20s, fiber arts just kind of found me. I wasn't really looking hard for my passion at that point in time. It crossed my path, and I just knew. I remember thinking that I would never have a passion like my father's. It's funny how in our 20s we can have this sense that if it hasn't happened yet, maybe it just won't. I look back now and I know that in my 20s, I was just getting started in this life. So Wind Rose Fiber Studio, it's my business, my link to my father and my ancestors, and it's my identity. It's how I found my passion, it's how I find peace with an anxious heart, and it provides my life with so much meaning and direction. I'll keep sharing my story over future episodes, but I just finished a crochet tutorial for the Classic Pocketbook, which means it's time to tidy the studio. Cue the cleaning montage. I've always liked this summer cotton crochet bag. Should I make a tutorial for this one? Okay, back to work. Let me show you what I was working on earlier. It's inspired by this top from my closet that's made from this lacy fabric, and I love wearing it over a tank top in the summertime, but the black color is not the most practical. First, I worked it up in kind of this inexpensive worsted weight yarn, and this turned out just right. Like it really mimics the pattern. It's made to be extra wide with bat wings, and it's just a very drapey, relaxed cover up. Like it would be great as a swimsuit cover up. But the problem with this one is that it is made from a worsted weight and it's still a little bit too warm, even with all of the holes in it. Arizona is just really, really hot. So I'm making up another one using a DK weight. And I'm considering maybe making it up out of this Tribu. This is a Lion Brand product. It's also a DK. This one has a little bit of sparkle to it, which I thought would be fun. So that might be the next up and coming tutorial here at Windrose Fiber Studio. At least it's what I'm working on right now. Okay, it's the next day, and for some reason, I got very little sleep last night. I've been up since around 2:30 in the morning, and when I got to the studio, I just couldn't focus on anything. So I decided to dive into just my stores of dyed wool and just start pulling different colors out. I thought maybe I just need to play with wool today. So right now I'm just kind of making two even piles with the same colors in it. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a singles yarn or if I want to make two singles and turn them into a two-ply. All I know is I just want to play with color and have it be crazy. And to that end, here's one of the sets of colors. I took some time and just teased them all out. So I turned that nice calm box of wool into this crazy, I don't even know what to call it, cloud of color. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the other box, and I'm just teasing them out and just building color on top of color. Part of the inspiration for this, I'm from the East Coast originally. I grew up in Virginia, and once I started getting into fiber arts, I was lucky enough to be able to go to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival every spring. And there was a vendor there that used to, I think she must have just taken all of her leftovers, tease them out, and throw them in a bag, and then you could just grab handfuls of it and buy it by the ounce. Some of my favorite handspun yarn has been the result of spinning this grab bag full of just a hodgepodge of mixed colors and textures. I don't know why, it's just a lot of fun. You kind of don't know what you're going to get until you start spinning, and it's like a little spinning adventure. So sitting on the floor and teasing wool was just about all I was up for on this day, and I just found it satisfying. I don't know how long it took me to do this, a little over half an hour for each one, but I could do this all day long. There are all kinds of fibers in here. A lot of it is merino because I've dyed a lot of merino. There's also some sari silk in here, some soy silk. I've got a little angora. I've got some just plain locks, a little bit of everything. And I love that blend of texture. Oh, there's also some nylon Firestar worked into it, which is a fiber that has a little bit of sparkle. I find these fluffy clouds of wool so satisfying, and I was actually really excited to get these to my Pat Green drum carder and turn them into wool bats and get to spinning. Now, this stuff is so fluffy, you could just spin from the fold and draw it like this, and that would be fine, but I had the idea in my mind that I wanted to turn them into bats. And then I pulled out my drum carder. I bought this at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, one of the very first years Pat Green started making them, and they've been very popular ever since. Unfortunately for me, on this day, my drive band was just snapped in two. I think it's over 20 years old. It served me well, but it's time to order a new one. I guess I'll be carding my wool bats in episode 2. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.